evening and welcome to Biz RoundUp. I'm Nadun Sirivardhana, and we at Art Television bring you a collection of business highlights. Let's have a look at the headlines. Sri Lanka secures $200 million from the World Bank. Sri Lanka completes consultations with the OCC and the IMF. Over 20,000 tourists arrive in Sri Lanka in the first week of the month. News in detail. Sri Lanka has secured $200 million from the World Bank's International Development Association for Phase 2 of the Resilience, Stability and Economic Turnaround Programme. The funding aims to support ongoing economic reforms focused on achieving stability, growth and safeguarding of the country's vulnerable communities. The agreement was signed by Finance Secretary K.M. Sirivardhana and the World Bank's Country Director David Sislan. In other developments, President Anurukumara Dissanayake met with the Asian Development Bank Country Director Takafumi Kodono, who reaffirmed the ADB's commitment to supporting Sri Lanka's economic recovery. The key areas of focus included boosting the tourism sector, expanding energy initiatives, and offering support to small-scale entrepreneurs. Special attention will be given to developing tourism in the northern region of the country. Both the International Monetary Fund and the United States Agency for International Development are said to offer financial support to enhance the country's economic prospects. This was confirmed by US Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Julie Chung, during a meeting with Secretary to the President Dr. Nandika Sanath Kumarnayake at the Presidential Secretariat recently.
Ambassador Chung conveyed congratulations from US President Joe Biden to President Anurukumara Dissanayake and reaffirmed the United States' commitment to strengthening Sri Lanka's economy, particularly through export-driven initiatives. The United States has also pledged financial and technical support for the President's anti-corruption initiatives as well as for efforts in good governance and national security. In addition, the US is backing new programs focused on renewable energy, export-oriented agriculture and poverty alleviation. On the social front, the ongoing program of providing lunches to rural schools will soon expand to include urban schools as well.
Cabinet spokesperson and Minister of Mass Media Vijitha Herath said that the government has taken steps to form a committee in order to expedite the digital terrestrial television broadcasting project. The Cabinet spokesperson said this speaking at the post-Cabinet meeting media briefing held at the Government Information Department premises earlier this week.
ජපාන ණය පහසුකම් යටතේ ක්‍රියාත්මක කිරීම නියමිත ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ භෞමික රූපවාහිනී අංකිත කිරීමේ ව්‍යාපෘතිය. ඒ කියන්නේ ඩිජිටල් ටෙරස්ට්‍රියල් ටෙලිවිෂන් බ්‍රෝඩ්කාස්ටිං ලංකාවේ රූපවාහිනී මාධ්‍ය ඩිජිටල් කරණය සම්බන්ධ වෙච්ච ව්‍යාපෘතිය. මේක බොහෝ කාලයකට පෙර යෝජනා වෙච්ච දෙයක්. නමුත් ඒ තාම අවසන් වෙලා නැහැ. ඉතින් අපි ජනමාධ්‍ය අමාත්‍යාංශයේ විදිහට මේ පිළිබඳ තාක්ෂණික ඇගීමේ කමිටුවක් පත් කරනු ලැබුවා. රූපවාහිනී ආයතන නියෝජනය වෙන විදිහටත් යම් යම් රජයේ මාධ්‍ය ආයතන නියෝජනය වෙන විදිහටත් ඒවයි තාක්ෂණික ඉංජිනේරුවරයන් සම්බන්ධ වෙලා මුදල් අමාත්‍යාංශ නියෝජිතයොත් සම්බන්ධ වෙලා මේ පිළිබඳව දැන් තියෙන තත්ත්වය වාර්තා කරලා ඒ නිර්දේශ ඉදිරිපත් කරලා මේ ඩිජිටල් කරණය කඩිනම් කිරීම සඳහා වෙච්ච අනුමැතිය කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයේ ලබා දෙනු ලැබුවා. දැනට ලබා දීලා තියෙන්නේ ඒ ඩිජිටල් කරන ව්‍යාපෘතිය අධීක්ෂණය කරලා ඒ තාක්ෂණික කටයුතු පිළිබඳ ඇගීම් වාර්තාවක් ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න ඒ සඳහා වෙච්ච කමිටුව පත් කිරීම සඳහා ජනමාධ්‍ය අමාත්‍යාංශ ලේකම්වරයාගේ සභාපතිත්වයෙන් යුක්ත කමිටුවක් පත් කරන්න කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයේ අනුමැතිය ලබා දුන්නා.
Speaking further at the press briefing, spokesperson Herath said that the Cabinet has approved the immediate appointment of a new Commissioner General for the Department of Excise. This decision was made following a cabinet proposal submitted by the President in his capacity as the Minister of Finance, Economic Development, Policy Formulation, Planning and Tourism.
Herath said that the Sri Lanka Excise Department, a key revenue generating agency for the government, requires leadership capable of addressing future challenges and achieving departmental goals. The newly appointed Commissioner General UDN Jaiveera is a special grade officer of the Inland Revenue Service and was previously serving as an additional secretary in the Presidential Secretariat. The President has also approved the dismissal of J.M. Gunsiri, who was serving as the Commissioner General of Excise on a contract basis. His services were terminated with immediate effect. Additionally, Ms. M.S.P. Surya Peruma, a special grade officer of the Sri Lanka Administrative Service, have been appointed as the Acting Commissioner General for the Department of Registration of Persons. This appointment fills the vacancy that has been open since September 24, 2024.
Stay tuned, we will return after this commercial break. Welcome back. The Sri Lankan government has announced a successful completion of consultations with the Official Creditor Committee and the International Monetary Fund. This marks a critical step in the nation's debt restructuring process following the agreement in principle reached on the 19th of September. According to a statement from the Treasury, the terms of the AIP have been confirmed as compliant with the IMF's comparability of treatment principle. This agreement aligns with the parameters set under the IMF's Extended Fund Facility Program, which also factors in the restructuring terms previously reached with the OCC and the China Exim Bank in June. In light of the recent presidential elections and the new government taking office, Sri Lankan authorities have reiterated their commitment to meeting the debt targets and fast-tracking the restructuring process. The government has expressed gratitude to all its creditors, the IMF and the OCC, for their continued support throughout this journey towards economic recovery. The government of Sri Lanka has officially appointed Citigroup Global Markets as the dealer manager for the upcoming sovereign bond exchange. The appointment follows a competitive bidding process, marking a significant step in the country's efforts to restructure its international sovereign bonds. The announcement comes after the government reached agreements in principle on the restructuring terms with both foreign and domestic holders of sovereign bonds, as stated on the 19th of September. The bond exchange is designed to offer new securities to replace the existing ones. The Treasury noted that Citi will now be responsible for handling key aspects of the bond exchange, including consent solicitation, legal documentation, and the overall management of the exchange process. Legal counsel for Citi will be provided by Hogan Lovells, a global law firm. The Finance Ministry said the decision was made after evaluating proposals from 5 shortlisted entities, with Citi being selected for its expertise and strong performance in technical and financial assessments. The Ministry of Finance has announced that Sri Lanka's agreement in principle on the macro-linked bonds with international bondholders could result in debt reduction of between $2 billion to $4.6 billion. It said that this is dependent on the country's future economic performance. The Finance Ministry revealed that Sri Lanka is said to benefit from an upfront debt stock reduction of around $3.2 billion with the potential for further relief up to $4.6 billion in the event of an economic downturn. However, should Sri Lanka's economic performance exceeds expectations, this reduction could scale down to $2 billion. Additionally, over the period of the IMF-supported program, the country's debt service payments are expected to be slashed by around $9.5 billion. The maturity of bonds will be extended by over 5 years, while interest rates are set to decrease from 6.4% to an average of 4.4%. Under these agreements, bondholders will be agreeing to a 40.3% present value concession in the baseline scenario, offering significant relief to Sri Lanka as it moves towards achieving foreign debt sustainability. These agreements are also crucial for unlocking further IMF disbursements and support from other development partners in the coming years. Stay tuned, we will return after this commercial break. Welcome back. Sri Lanka has surpassed 1.5 million tourist arrivals so far in 2024. In the first week of October, over 20,000 visitors arrived in Sri Lanka, according to the latest data released by the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority.
This achievement marks the highest number of arrivals since the devastating Easter Sunday attacks in 2019. The recent restoration of the electronic travel authorization system on 26 September has contributed to this surge in arrivals, boosting confidence in a strong winter season ahead. The Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority expects 155,070 arrivals for the month of October alone. Sri Lanka has set ambitious targets for 2024, aiming to attract 2.3 million tourists and generate over $4 billion in foreign exchange revenue.
The Cabinet has decided to terminate the services of officers and consultants appointed on a contract basis for 3 key projects initiated by the previous government. Cabinet spokesperson Vijitha Herath announced that the contracts will be officially ended effective from this month.
This move follows President Anukumar Dissanayaka's decision to streamline government functions, noting that the relevant ministries are now equipped to manage these initiatives independently. The affected projects include the Office for the Affairs of Sri Lankans Abroad, the National People's Council, and the Agriculture Modernization Program. As part of this realignment, the Office for the Affairs of Sri Lankans Abroad will now operate under the President's Office, while the other programs will continue under the respective ministries.
Finally, the Inland Revenue Department of Sri Lanka has successfully collected over 1,400 billion rupees in taxes by the end of last month, surpassing 70% of its annual target of 2,024 billion rupees.
Commissioner General Sepalika Chandrasekharu acknowledged this significant progress but stressed the importance of addressing outstanding taxes. Certain taxpayers under the self-assessment system have yet to meet their dues. The department will conduct in-person visits to ensure these taxes are promptly collected. The Commissioner General also emphasized that the Inland Revenue Department will enforce legal measures where necessary to recover unpaid taxes, ensuring compliance moving forward.
With that, we wind up for today. For this and more, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. See you tomorrow with State of Business at 7:45 p.m. Take care and good night.